Welcome to another edition of the Silver Fox. What I have for you today is a Terran vs Zerg matchup. We are currently looking at the Terran player, myself, the real Quaid, in the top left corner, and in the bottom right corner we have Samuelson. Samuelson. Lots of extra consonants. Interesting name. This game is a little different than the style I normally play. I've been watching some of Winter's gameplay and seeing him go Triple Rax Reaper, so I've been testing this out a little bit and seeing how it works. It's pretty good. So far, 2 games tried it, 2 games have won. If your opponent has no idea that this is coming, it's quite effective. I'm still working out the mechanics and exactly what the best way to build this is, but essentially whenever I have enough minerals to build another barracks, I just go ahead and do it. While you're doing this, it's important not to supply block yourself because you don't want to have to wait. This is a timed attack, so you definitely need as many precious seconds as possible. You don't want to waste precious time sitting back waiting for supply depots to finish building. We got the slow overlord out for the scout. Checking the top of the map. Quick expansion from my opponent. Pull the hatch. Pretty standard build. And at this point I blocked myself with gas. So I needed to have my gas geyser out quick. I think I had it out fine as far as the time to construction. But I didn't have enough SCVs harvesting. That was a mistake that I will correct in the future. I've also been trying to get better about leaving SCVs idle. It's very easy to do when you're playing Terran because it's so tempting to just click build and forget. So at this point I've got 3 Reapers queued up, 2 Reapers queued up, and then a third. So I should have a third coming along any second now. There it is. To one-shot a drone, you need 4 damage times 2, which is 8. 8 times 2, which is 16. 16, or 8 times 3, which is 32. Excuse me, 24. And 8 times 4. 32 times 2, and you can take out a drone with 5 Reapers. Hope that math wasn't too bad for you. I wasn't really concentrating when I was talking. And obviously I can't do math. So at this point I just send my Reapers forward and they run into this batch of Lings. This is unfortunate because I wasn't really paying attention as far as sending them across the map, and I lose 2 Reapers, and then I throw some very poorly placed grenades. But Reapers can shoot down. So it's pretty easy to just go ahead and at this point he makes a U-turn. I thought he was going to hide in corner here. This is the first time I've watched this replay. So because I have more Reapers ready to go, I figure let's just go and do it. But at this point he knows what's going on. He knows that I have a lot of Reapers coming out. I've heard other Terran players say this: your job as a Terran player is to prevent your opponent from building up too much. He's not spending his money very well, but he is droning up a lot quite quickly. The worker can't. Alright, let's see. Workers. Right now he has 33, I only have 25, so he's beating me in the economy. He also has lots of queens out. This is important for deflecting Reaper aggression. Pulls the drones, I'm not really paying attention, I end up losing my Reapers. And so I just run back home. I have some more. I'm wondering if, at this point, if he's going to suspect that I will come in for another attack. He does leave his queen here. And he's got 3 more on the bottom. So it's pretty good Reaper defense to have that many queens. But at this point, I feel like he's not going to know that I have more Reapers coming. So I decided to go in again. At this point, it's a little bit more effective. He's slow on the route. And then he brings the Lings in and finishes me off. So pretty good resistance to this. So at this point, I know that I gotta switch tactics. This is not gonna work. This is not gonna win me the game. My micro is too poor, and he's too prepared at his bases. He's also good. If I keep spending my money just making Reapers and constantly going in and attacking and losing, I'm not gonna have anything to defend for when he's obviously at some point a counterattack's gonna come, and I'm not gonna have anything to defend. He doesn't bring his Overlord into my base. I guess he doesn't really want to see what's going on. So at this point, he has no idea what I'm doing. This map's kind of cool because it's got this ledge where you can park a bunch of siege tanks for defense. It's really nice. Has any kind of run by Zerglings, Zealots, doesn't have much of a chance if you wall off here and have tanks on top. I thought my opponent might be coming in much quicker than he did, so I built a defensive bunker just to kind of make sure that there was no easy way for him to get in. If he wanted to fight for it to get in, I was okay with that. And then I also decided, you know, I need to go drop on his base one more time. Make sure that he can't, you know, just sit back on his bases and collect money, which is what he's doing. So I wasn't doing a very good job of spending in this game. I was focused more on my micro on the other side, so I let it get out of control. But before you get too down on yourself, just know that that money can be spent quite quickly just building up units. So if you're not under a lot of pressure, it's not a big deal. The opposite is true if he's coming in with a huge force and you have nothing and you're sitting on a bunch of minerals. That's not good. Just waiting for the rest of the Marines to come out, load up the medevacs, and then drop them. I decided to make a couple of Hellions as well because if I was going to go drop on his mineral line, Hellions take care of the drones really quickly. So he built a spine crawler in response to my aggression earlier too. It's pretty smart. So I think here he comes with the Zerglings. But at this point I've got a wall, barrack, or a bunker, bunch of Marines on the other side, and an SCV for repair. But as you will soon see, this is not enough. He has lots of Hydralisks, but since this is just my second natural expansion, I just go in for the drop. This will usually bring an F2 hit. Everyone will hit the all-army hockey and try to run back to their base. That's what I was kind of hoping that he would do. He didn't necessarily do that, but at this point I had more siege tanks out, so I knew that going up this ramp he was going to have a tough time. Lose my tank, but I have enough Marines in here to... or no, excuse me, my tank is still here. Lost one Hellion, and I have enough Marines in here to do some more damage. Now the spine crawler is a pain in the butt, and I'm sieged up too far away to hit it. It's also continuing to produce from this base. But the disruption in the economy will definitely help my cause. And I lose everything. But that's taking the pressure off of him bringing his reinforcements over to take out this base. So I think that drop was very well timed. Although not successful in taking him out completely, it was good enough to get the pressure off. because now he's got to spend the rest of his time inching his Hydralisk across the map. They're not fast units, and I know this. So if he has a bunch of Hydras and I have a bunch of tanks out, 5 tanks versus any amount of Hydras, the Hydras are going to have a tough time. I've also got mules. Mules are my favorite thing ever. They're just the best. So at this point, my mineral patches are running low on top. I just am starting to bring my second command center back from almost the brink of destruction. So it's pretty close. But I can bring down my SCVs from my other command center. I feel pretty confident that this will deter most aggression. He's still not scatting with this Overlord, which I'm not really sure why. Continue to produce upgrades. At this point I think I have 1-1, and then nothing on the tanks yet, so should spool this armory up at any time. Combat shields and stim is now done. I've also got a couple of medevacs out. I'm not sure what the exact ratio is of medevacs to Marines on the ground, but if you have more medevacs than you have Marines on the ground, you're not going to die very quickly. But it's also a waste, because medevacs don't really add anything to the battle. So with this many tanks out, it's pretty easy for me to stop turtling and go ahead and de-siege and move out across the map, because, you know, the third base has a lot of points of entry. You have 3 ramps that you can access the third base from, as well as from behind with the drop. So it's quite vulnerable. My opponent is expanding as a Zerg should, faster than I am. But I know that if I can cover these 3 ramps with some tank coverage, I'm gonna barely be able to see here, but that's going to be enough. Plus these tanks on the high ground, there's going to be a lot of aggression that my opponent will have to face in order to get through this choke. And here he comes with a new group of Hydralisks. They have +2 carapace and +1 attack, so a little bit better than my tanks do, and better than my Marines at that. I have +1 vehicle and ship plating on the way. Taking down the ice wall. Just waiting for his units to arrive. Banelings. I did spot these Banelings in a scan, so I knew that these were a potential threat. Banelings are fine, but if you have enough tanks, they're not going to do much. Especially coverage from both sides. And I have a bunch of Widow Mines that I made. Zerg has a tough time figuring out what to do against a bunch of Widow Mines, especially a ground-based Zerg force. So he tries to come around the other side, but I know that this ramp is exposed, so he's going to run into a bunch of tank fire, which is not going to be good. Stim Marines and tanks are extremely powerful, even against upgraded Hydralisks. He didn't use his Banelings at all. And with this many Widow Mines on this side, I feel confident that I can start loading up my medevacs and take to the skies with my next plan. Luckily, this frozen river out here provides enough margin so that the Zerg player cannot see a drop coming unless they station an Overlord. So I loaded up all my tanks and all my Marines, as well as with some another set of Marines for a bit of a doom drop. So I got that one Overlord just sitting there. If you just inched over a little bit, you'd be able to see what I was up to. At this point, I'm doing a bit better controlling my minerals, not letting it get so out of hand. Boost in, just hit D where you think you're gonna be okay, and go for it. The target fires down my tanks. Smart. But Stim Marines are here now. 2-2. So he's in trouble. Pretty easy to take out the main. And also his infestation pit. And at this point he's dead. He's got nothing left. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It taught me something about my micro and my macro. How to transition. I thought I did a fairly decent job of transitioning. My player wasn't the best competition, but I thought he was fairly decent. Anyway, if you'd like, go ahead and leave a comment and click the like button. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.